Hello and welcome to our deep dive on style. So today I am kind of going to do a beginner and more advanced tips. I think we will have time for me to go through the entire process, basically how I instruct newcomers. So if you're a newcomer, you can get that, but then also how you can make some advanced tweaks and everything. So I just shared the documents. Let us know if y'all need any of them. I will be working on our from two documents. So we're going to browse my process real quick. For anybody who missed my little talk about this video, this is an old video from when Story Bible used to be called Story Engine. The boxes worked the same, but it's a completely different layout. However, if you're okay with watching that, the first part of that video where I talk about brain dump and synopsis, and there's still some useful style and genre tips, you can watch that there. I would ignore the rest of the video, or unless you just want to watch it, but still keep in mind you should probably ignore the tips there. In the style and genre section, I actually have some examples of what I use in my style and boxes. Sorry, I scrolled too fast on that, didn't I? I'm so sorry. And then I actually linked to a couple of more documents where you can have additional style and genre wording. Basically, there's a lot for you to choose from to start playing around with. And you're free to try my samples there. But something I want you to keep in mind with style. I started getting almost 100% usable prose after another user had this line in their either style or genre box, I can't remember where, and it said, "This ain't no fucking love story." And I'm like, well, that's pretty neat. Their Espresso is that user right there. I'm like, well, that's pretty neat. And she said she had got it from one of her plugins, wasn't an intentional thing. Like, okay. So I went into Chat GPT and I was like, hey, I want some wording like this for my style and genre boxes. I have primed Chat GPT to understand what the Sudowrite style and genre boxes are for. So, hey, I want some wording that's out of the box thinking like this. And it gave me a bunch of examples, played around with, and that's when I settled on the no fucks given narrative style. Excuse my language on that, y'all. So otherwise, that's not wording I would have thought of. And since I changed that, my whole just kind of perception of everything has changed. So think outside the box. Use some unusual wording. I do have some that I'm going to show to y'all that y'all can play with. Other things that we talked about the other day, especially in the genre box. I know this is a style class, but they play very closely together, y'all. You don't have to do wording such as like this, these short little sentences, first person POV, that little thing. You don't have to do that. One of our teachers, Monique, she actually writes full sentences for her genre box. She will be saying, I'm going to throw something together here. This is a small town contemporary romance with a ranch hand and the owner of the ranch. I don't know, something along those lines. But she writes incomplete sentences telling all of those elements that she wants. So that might work better for you. It's all about finding what works for you, that process. Something I always mention. Do not use the word romance in your genre box, y'all. I don't use it in style either. Romantic is okay. I don't use that one. If I have any form of romance, it's paired with dark. So I always say dark romanticism. That's it. I don't use the word fantasy. If I had for my young adult fantasy, I actually just put young adult. Keep in mind the AI knows the genre of your book. That's why you can just give it your story elements, not tell it the genre. But then if you go ask Quick Chat, hey, what's a good genre for this book? Or, what's the genres and subgenres of this story? It'll list some that fit your story. It knows it's pieced all that together. So you don't need the very generic fantasy or romance. I have found these cause a lot of cliches, and anybody feel free to back me up or actually disagree with me.
100% backing her up. As someone who writes romance and fantasy and all of that jazz, having those words in there is poop.
Yeah. In romance, you're going to get constant. I mean, I had to go on a mission to get rid of this because every single chapter and almost every stride, but at least every single chapter had some version of they would get through this together. With him by her side, she can get through. I'm talking every single chapter. That is not an exaggeration, I swear. It got so bad, I was getting nauseous as I was reading every time I saw it pop up. So I went on a mission to get rid of that, and it turned out to be as simple as not putting romance in the genre box or style. Fantasy brings in all kinds of other potential issues, constantly wanting artifacts in your story. You know, they got to find this artifact that's going to doom or save the world. You might not want that, okay? Other things to watch out for. Like if you get specific with sword and sorcery, I just noticed this with one of my stories. I do have these elements that I wanted. However, whenever I would generate prose with this in my style box or genre box, it would describe everything as medieval. These modern setting locations where suddenly stone castles are just something that was medieval looking. Always the word medieval. So be careful with that. If you missed the class we did the other day for AI and the author, I always say for genre box, I load it up. I put everything in there before I generate my outline. Once my outline gets generated, I cut it down to the basics of what I absolutely need and want in that genre box. And there's typically so much room in there that I can use my genre box as a secondary style box because I'm only putting a couple of words like mafia, dark romanticism, things like that in my genre. So that is
Hey,
another way to use that box.
Nicole,
Yes, sir.
Bruce Lee. Okay, I'm writing a psychological thriller, and I get this whatever you call it, this thing in all like every chapter, shiver goes down my spine.
Yeah.
What would that what would cause that? What am I doing wrong there to get rid
Thriller.
of that?
I would get
Yeah,
rid of thriller.
get rid of thriller.
And try it, see how it goes. And y'all, this isn't going to lead to 100% annihilation of those words. I still get every once in a while that phrasing, but this combined with really tweaking your style box does help an enormous amount. But get rid of the word thriller and see how that does for you.
Okay, I try that.
Something instead of psychological thriller, like psychological. Let me go to another thing so I don't mess up my page here. Where is it? Okay, so in that Sudowrite guide document, genre and style box suggestions for thriller, like you could do start thinking along the lines of this, where you get those tension, something, whatever brings that tension, the mysteriousness, whatever aspect you're wanting, it brings it in without resorting to just that thriller. I think that'll help. All right, so that is pretty much the basics. Go
Miss
through.
Nicole,
Yes,
excuse
ma'am.
me. Do you have any suggestions? I'm a mystery writer, more like a cozy mystery, but I don't want to be so sappy like Hallmark. I want it to be more like um Agatha Christie, Ellery Queen kind of genre. Is there a wording that I might choose other than just mystery for my genre?
So this is a good one. Let's play with this real quick. I'm just going to start a new document so it doesn't have any information to go off of. And I'm going to pull up quick chat. So new document, nothing here. Let's pull up quick chat. And you can have a conversation with it and tell it pretty much just what you said. So I'm writing a cozy mystery. Have to make sure it isn't cheesy sounding prose. So you like the style of Agatha Christie?
Yes, ma'am. Ellery Queen. I'm old school. I like the old Nero Wolf,
Can
that
you
type
spell that?
of
Can you spell those for me?
Nero Wolf is Nero, I believe, WOLF, and I'm not sure if it's an E on the end or not.
We're gonna throw it in there because it seems like it would have an E. Excuse me. And you
Ellery
mentioned one.
Queen, Sam Spade, Agatha Christie, those,
Okay.
although it's not going to be like a detective Sam Spade, it's more like a Miss Marple kind of feel, tone to it.
Okay. So that's even more that you could tell it. Don't be afraid to, tell it all of that. Have that conversation as if you're talking to me. Pretend quick chat is one of the teachers, if that helps, or just a friend, whatever you want.
Okay, perfect.
So I'm gonna say, give me some suggestions for genre, subgenre, themes, tropes, and writing styles I can incorporate.
Is there any way you can zoom your screen a tad?
Mm-hmm.
I can't see it, what you're writing.
Okay, I'm going to paste this into the chat too for you
Oh,
too.
perfect. Thank you so much.
I will say if you have a trackpad, you can also zoom in on her screen and move it around the
If
view.
I have a
Okay.
what?
A trackpad,
No, I don't even know what that is.
like on a laptop, the little touchpad.
I do, but it's disabled because I have a mouse that what do you call
Gotcha.
it? External mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I just disabled my that because of the fact that I was always hitting it with my wrist when I was typing.
Okay, so this is what I'm putting. I tried zooming in, but it did something to my box. So I'm
Okay.
messing it up.
Yeah, that sometimes happens
Edgy
with us.
Murder, She Wrote. I love that, John. That is actually good. I would actually put that in my genre box. I'm not going to lie. I would try that out. Edgy
What
Murder, She
was
Wrote
that?
in my genre box.
Oh yeah, Murder She Wrote. That was a good one.
All right, so let's see what Quick Chat gives us on this. Seems like secrets. So I'm
Keywords.
wanting to do what?
Keywords.
Traditional whodunit. I'm not liking. Okay, it's not cooperating with me being able to give you what I'm wanting to give you. So forgive me while I jump into Chat GPT real quick. Do you have Chat GPT, Miss Deb?
Do I have what?
Chat GPT?
No,
Okay.
I don't even know what that is.
So it's just an AI thing, and it's like Quick Chat and Sudowrite.
Okay.
All right, so
You did have a book on that though, didn't you?
yes, ma'am.
Or somebody did on Amazon. I remember
All right, so
that.
this is just a start, so you can actually see. I'm going to copy this conversation because you don't need to have chat to read it. So you'll be able to open this link up and read the prompting that I gave it and
Okay.
what it told me.
Thank you.
But again, you can use Quick Chat since it knows your story information, which will probably help. Right now, it's not giving me what I'm actually wanting. I want that list like chat gave me like this. But since Quick Chat can see your story information, it could probably do a better job of that.
And that's called Quick Chat.
Yes, ma'am. So to get Quick Chat, sorry, trying not to scroll. I made sure I did a clean chapter or semi-clean chapter, y'all.
Well, that's in Sudowrite,
Right.
right? In the program.
So
I remember reading.
yep, you can highlight up to 1,000 words and you see how quick edit popped up. I can
Oh
click
yeah.
and then I can have the option of quick edit or quick chat. Instead of
Okay.
highlighting, if you don't want to highlight, you can press Control K on a PC, Command K on a Mac. I actually have in the all class documents I linked, there's this bottom one, Quick Tools. It gives you information as far as what each tool looks at and ways to play around with it, things like that.
Okay.
As long as you leave this toggle grayed out like it is, it's free. If I turn it on where it's purple, you see it uses credits.
Okay.
Play around with it. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's look back at, or let's go back to style. Okay, so I ran 2 chapters already. And we are actually, I just wanted to show y'all this at first for comparison, but we're actually going to work together in the style box on a different story. Okay, y'all are in a much better starting position than I was, or even Stacy was, anybody that was over a couple of months ago. We did not have what's called the featured styles. And style has always been one of the biggest struggles. Style and beats, I'd say, are the 2 biggest struggles that people have inside Sudowrite. So now you have the featured styles options. They gathered this from the community, people's favorites that they constantly using. So I highly recommend going through them. I have a document I prepared for this class. I'm sorry, I thought I meant to pull it up. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. And just browse this later if you're wanting to pay attention to me, unless you're not wanting to pay attention to me. But all this Google document is I'm telling you, okay, this was my original synopsis. So what I did was, I don't like how the featured styles seems to be different stories. I haven't actually examined it enough, but that's the impression I got, completely different stories. I wanted to see a comparison with the same story. So for those in the AI and the author, you'll recognize the story. So this was my original synopsis. And then I used Quick Edit, which does see the style box, and I filled in the style box with each one of those options from featured styles. So you can read through and kind of see the difference it makes. And if you read through, you should notice there's just little words that each one will tend to use. So it's a nice subtle difference, but definitely a difference. All right, so this one right here is the gritty style. It's a favorite of a lot of people. And since I like dark mafia romance, that's the one I wanted to try. So I wanted to compare that featured style with my actual style, which I showed here. So the style I compared it to, not that one actually. Minus these 2. I had the no fucks given. I'll show you what I had. Ways. All right, so this is the gritty featured style. This is just a chapter. Just kind of wanted y'all to see this opening stride, how it's worded. Let me know what you think of this. Do y'all like it? Not like it?
Yeah, I like it.
I mean, I understand if it's not y'all's style. That's not what I'm at. I'm just like, to y'all, especially those of you who have been working with AI, or maybe even those who've generated them, like, oh my gosh, what is this? It doesn't really have all the AI fluff, right?
No, it definitely knocks down a lot of the AI isms, and it has a lot of personality directly in the text instead of having that frustrating, omniscient point of view that we usually have to battle against. It feels like a character.
Yeah. All right, so that's the first thing. I didn't put my normal insert cliffhanger ending. I'm going to put that in chat for those who don't know about that. I've actually got in the habit of leaving that pretty much all the time in my genre and style box. And that does cut down on these wrap ups at the end of every stride. I'm the person that just presses the button and lets it go. I don't edit as I generate, so. But you can use that, see how you like it. And it's especially helpful in the genre box before you generate an outline, if you're wanting your outline to kind of abruptly cut off. Like, this happens, end of book. Brian Mather taught me that. Thank the Lord, because I was struggling with the book series. Okay, so I didn't have that, but okay, that's the gritty featured style. This is my normal featured style. Let me scroll up and, oh, that's not one. Okay, so this is what I had in my style. Me, myself, and I. So the no fucks given, Ethan's POV, and then I threw this one in. So the result of that prose, I'm curious if y'all see a difference, if y'all see a, oop, whoa, no, back up. If y'all see a big difference, little difference. Actually, didn't even read this one. I'm sensing some difference, but honestly, I couldn't tell you what it is that I'm seeing.
It's a little choppier, which from a male's POV does make sense. And instead of visual sensory details, it goes first to auditory sensory details.
Okay. All right. So are they pretty similar enough that y'all think the featured styles can, because like I said, I've worked hard to achieve this style box, this style right here. I worked dang hard to achieve this, and I was very, very, very happy with the prose. But to me, that featured style is very close. I'm actually going to say I might even like it a little bit better, at least for this chapter.
I feel like both give us personality, which I appreciate. I feel like this one is a little, like I said, a little choppier, a little punchier.
I kind of agree. This one reminds me more of the true Sudowrite how it used to write in the past. Where you had to go in and give it a personality. The feature one, it had personality to me. Each person did. Where this one is, it's like you don't know who's talking. You don't see no difference in the characters.
Thank you so much for pointing that out. So let's go back to our style box. I like to put my stuff on the line. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't. For those who don't know, genre and style box have recency bias. That means the last portion of the box tends to have more impact. It sees all of it, it follows all of it, but this is like more impact. So I like putting things online like this. That way, if I really want something focused on, I could put it towards the bottom. If I don't care if it's focused on, I could just drop it in at the top, delete it, whatever. This just makes it easier for me to work with. All right, so first person POV, present tense, zero fucks given attitude, poignant yet unpretentious narrative. Okay, poignant yet unpretentious narrative. Focus on action, focus on realism, characters full of grit. Versus my style, it had no fucks given narrative style. Again, excuse my language, y'all. But that I want to show this for how important it is for these little words that you're using. I could just put it in this. It will actually change it up a bit. But no, I'm telling it, this is the type of narrative style I want. And that ends up encompassing the whole chapter. In that document I gave y'all, which one? So in the style and character voice, This is what we're going to be working on now. At the bottom of that, I've actually linked 3 ChatGPT conversations. And I believe it's this one. Let me open it up. Yes. So in this conversation, I actually asked chat about these things. So dialogue style, narrative style, and other things you can have. So I think this is really good if you're kind of wanting to learn the difference. Okay, what does narrative style mean? Please check out this chat because I couldn't explain it to you, but I understood it whenever chat told me. Let me close out a couple of these boxes. And then just check out these two if y'all like. Well, this one is actually the same wording we're going to look at now. And this one is one of them that I had primed for, hey, this is what the Sudowrite style box does. This is what the genre box does, and asked it for wording options. Right. But again, just keep in mind, all of those little things you put in there does make a difference. So we're going to go to our Guild of Misfits. Mr. Bruce loves fantasy. That's like his favorite, he said.
Oh
Really...
boy.
All right, so which one did I have here? I think from the looks of it, I must have sultry. I'm thinking, okay. Do I even have an outline for this? No, I don't. You know what? We need to make our outline real quick. Let's generate an outline. I'm not going to check the wording on the outline, y'all. Maybe a jumbled mess, but we're just going to generate some prose with some different style things. While that's generating, let's go back to the style and character voice one. All right, this was just an impromptu session we did. I don't think it was even recorded. I'm not sure. But I did record or write down everything that we did in that session. So we had, this resulted in working great with, I think 4.0. I can't remember if it was 4.0 mini. Jane, I know you were in that class. I don't know if you remember, but it was either 4.0 or 4.0 mini. If you don't like dialogue tags, I hate dialogue tags, y'all. Naked dialogue works really well for me. So again, this is just some different ways you can play with the style box. What did we test here? We actually had the same thing in pretty much everywhere, and that gives an example. But what I really want you to look at is the style and character voice wording. And I put them as both because this could go in the style box, but we tested it and it actually also works great for character personalities. Like, how does this person speak? Or what is their personality like? Play around with it and see what you like. We had fun doing that with them. Which one? I know there was one we really liked playing with. We only got to play with a few. But there's this one. And again, you could scroll through. So I could actually see it working in the genre box as well. So play around with it. When you're experimenting like this with some brand new stuff, I only recommend making one change. So I'm going to add it to the genre box, not make any other changes. Run a stride or something, see how it goes. Judge good or bad. Or, okay, now I'm going to put it in the style box. Again, same thing. Or I'm going to make the character talk this way. See how it works. Make little changes at a time so you know exactly what did or didn't work for what you're trying to achieve. And there's just different categories for you to actually go through. So play around with that. All right, our outline is done. Why is it putting dashes in our outline? It's weird. All right, let me choose one real quick. I'm going to change this because just to fit the story. So all right, so simple. Arrives at the academy. This is Magical Academy. Witnesses the sprite going after a group of students. And he tries to help but causes more chaos with a spell mishap. All right, so it's chapter 3, just so I know it's there. Now let's look at our genre and style. I'm going to get rid of fantasy. And let's try playing around with one of these. If y'all see any y'all like or think fits the story, let me know.
I like darkly humorous with take no prisoners attitude.
Me too, but it's not going to fit the story. But I do want lots of dry humor. Ooh, I like this one. This one will work, right? Like both of these.
To go along with dry humor, I have found that literally just the keyword irreverent works really well.
What, irreverent dry humor?
You can put it wherever you want.
Yeah, let's try that.
Kind of want to put these, I think, would make some really good character things. So I'm just going to put let's say that one. And we want to do third person past tense. Make sure y'all get in the habit of put that hyphen between third and person, past tense, or whichever forms you're going to use. It's best to just get into the habit because some models work better with the hyphen. Like if you're trying to do first person, Unfiltered doesn't even like to write it unless you have first hyphen person. So I just get in the habit of putting it all the time like that. Plus, it also saves you a couple of words with that hyphen. All right, so young adult, comedic, ill-timed. Let's try this. So we have our chapter 3. We're going to generate beats, and I'm just going to combine some just to make it thick so it can run astride. All right. Let me try zooming it in again. There we go. How's that, Miss Dad? Is that good? Is that better? The flamboyantly. I'm not sure, but oh, I think you might have come in late there. There's that document. But it's the style and character voice in the all class documents list. All right. One thing to keep in mind. Again, I know this is a style class, but starting in synopsis, okay? Anything that AI generates, anything and everything you need to edit to sound like you, or to at least sound the way you want the AI to sound. This is especially important in beats. So we always say, if you want crude language, you use that crude language yourself inside the beats. If you want body parts described a certain way, you describe them a certain way. So it's especially important in beats. However, the more boxes that you can put in that style that you're wanting, the better. So if you can make your outline sound more like you, that's even better, but definitely in your beats. But for instance, this first beat, arrives at the academy, his heart pounding with excitement and nerves. The AI gives a lot of heart pounding, right? Shivers down the spine that we were talking about earlier, all of that. I would delete this. Either fully delete it or make it arrives at the academy a little bit excited, but also nervous. Plain and simple wording, because that's what I want in my writing. So I'm not going to change all of this, but that's something you need to do every single box. If you do not like that wording that the AI puts in, delete it or rewrite it. Okay, that's very important. If your character with a surge of determination, I'm not leaving that in there. Okay, I'm not, because I know that's going to come out in my prose. I don't want it. If the AI is generating your characters, guess what? Let me see if, because I don't think we edited our characters. No. Okay, a lot of times when you generate your characters, it might be like your character is determined. That is listed as part of their personality. Well, guess what? If your character is determined in their character card, you're telling the AI, hey, every time you use this character, just know that they are determined. That can be to blame for a lot of determined to get through this with renewed sense of determination, all of those things. Again, get rid of that wording that you don't like anywhere that the AI generates. All right, so I'm just going to combine these so we can get a good beat. Again, not editing, just flickering with mischief. No, I'm just going to say the sprite's starting around. That's it. So lack of control. I want this to be more comedic, and I'm thinking this might defeat it. So I'm just going to say, but what's the word I'm looking for? Somebody, his magic not backfires, but misfires. Um, and
Misbehaves or is wonky.
I like the wonky. Okay, so actually the wonky wording would work for the more humorous aspect that we're going for. So his magical spell ends up all wonky. Okay. Let's do a little beats things. Oh, never mind, it didn't. Okay, that's good. So it's a nice little stride, I think. Let's see what it does with that. What model do we want to use? My favorite is Best Prose version 1. That's what I generated those 2 chapters that we looked at with. But what are y'all wanting to see? Do y'all want to see Opus?
Know my answer.
Let's try Opus. Actually, I'm going to delete this because I don't want to have to worry about pausing in time. So we're only going to run that one stride so we can change up that style box and things. So question in chat, how would you specify direct wording with little superfluous description? I actually like that. I could see that working pretty decently in the style box. If it doesn't, you can ask Quick Chat or Chat GPT, how can I be more specific with this? I want direct wording with little superfluous description. What are some more specific instructions I can give to an AI? Is it better to keep beat instruction shorter? I like to, if y'all been in a beat class with me, y'all know I love to max out my beats box and I can make some thick beats. I love to put all of the details. If I know what they're doing, what they're saying, what room they're in, what the room looks like, all of those things, I'm putting it in my beats. I think Stacy is the opposite and likes to do concise.
For beats, mine are usually medium thickness, I would say. I give it enough on the stuff I'm real picky about. And a big thing is I make sure to include continuing action at the end and beginning of the next beat. So, like, to cut down on looping. I know this isn't the beats class, but and this is something I learned from Nicole. So, like, if you have a character walking into the coffee shop, and then in the next beat, they are also walking into the coffee shop. At the end of the first beat, I would say the character is still in the coffee shop, and you would name the character. And then in the next beat, so and so is still in the coffee shop and is about to leave, whatever have you. It makes a big difference.
Yes.
I don't remember the question.
I did link to our AI and the author recent Beats class. That's one of the most in-depth ones we've done. And of course, that Beats class will be happening again in a new way this round of AI and the author. We haven't got to it yet. So if you want to attend that, we can really discuss the beats. For those who don't know AI and the author, we take one box at a time each class. So it's a spread out, really get, excuse me, really able to go in depth on everything. All right, one of the main things I tell people too, I wanted to discuss this. If you're still a newcomer and you're still working on things, start with a minimum style box. Like you don't know which prose model you want to use yet. You don't know how you need to word your style. Start with just maybe first person present tense or third person past tense. If you know for sure you want lots of violence, you go ahead and put that, but try to keep it minimal. Hey, I want the bloody depictions of gore. Or I want cutesy, I don't know, cutesy butterflies flying all around all the time. Whatever you want, keep it simple. Put that in your style box and just run a stride. And a stride is 2 beats. So this is a beat, this is a beat, this is a stride. Run a stride through each of the models here. Okay, wrong one. Through each of the models. And from that, just kind of note which models you really like, which you really hate, and which might have some potential with a refined style box. That can be your first step for nailing down which of these prose modes you want to use. Okay, minimum style box, just run a stride through it and see how it does. All you're really looking at is the quality of the prose. All right, so this came out. There's a lot of wording I'm not liking. I do like this. I'm liking the dialogue, not liking the prose itself. Taming tiny terrors. I wonder if that came from our class card, Stacy. Do we have that? Do you remember?
I think we do in the courses.
Next week.
Something that might help
Oh, go ahead.
if, sorry, I didn't mow.
Go ahead.
Something that might help with speaking just the dialogue, if you feel like that area is lacking, but you're liking the prose overall, is figuring out what about it you don't like, obviously, and then putting the opposite of that in the style box. So if it feels too unrealistic, but realistic dialogue or conversational dialogue or naturalistic.
Yep.
Any of those three keywords work really, really well.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
I had the AI actually generate a style based on my, that 2000 word sample of my actual published writing. Is that not a good way to start, or are there pitfalls associated with that?
Okay. This class may run about 10, 15 minutes over, y'all, just so y'all know, because I'm fixing to walk y'all through some refinements. But if y'all can't hang around, it will be recorded. Okay, so match my style. I'm going to give my take, and then I'm going to ask Stacy or anybody else that wants to chime in on that. I do not use match my style the way it's intended. So when you paste your words in here, you do the next button, and it gives you a long output. That stuff is great. I like that. I copy that, and I will condense it down and look. And generally, that's condensed version just isn't as good. I really don't know anybody that really likes it. As far as, oh, I put this in my style and it worked fantastic. It usually still needs a lot of improvement, but it is a start if you want to go that route. The long version is great to copy into a document, and then I can take bits and pieces as I like. The way I like to use Match My Style is very different. What I will actually do is go to my outline, because remember, your style and genre should be changed up as you work. Same thing with character cards and world building if needed. Make your adjustments so that everything is aligned to where it needs to be in the story. Your characters are at the point of story where they need to be. If something got blown up, a setting got blown up in the last chapter, hey, you need to change that card. This now doesn't have a door or a wall because it got blown up. Same thing for style and genre. If you have a violent, tense chapter, the next one's just everybody kind of recovering from that, coming down from everything, you're going to want to change it up. So what I like to do is, this is the one we just went to, right? This is the chapter we just did. I'm going to copy that, come into style, and paste it there. This is the way I like to use Match My Style. I know it's not what they intended. However, I find this helps me with like my tone and mood words. I do have a prompt I like to use for that as well. But this will help. And I find it makes a world of difference just incorporating those words into it. So I would copy all of this. And I'm going to go ahead and click next just so you can see the difference. So whimsical and chaotic, that's actually a good one to put in our thing. Yeah, so I don't really care for any of this. I do like the whimsical and chaotic. I'm going to actually put that in here. And I'm going to paste in that big one. So here's my whimsical and chaotic from the tone of mood. That makes sense. That's the reason I liked it. This is really how I use Match My Style. I go through it for that chapter and grab those words or phrases that, oh, I really like this one. I didn't think about that. Or yeah, this fits. That's how I use it. Stacy, what about you?
So I tried to use it when I first started using Sudowrite. And from there, I would pull out keywords. So I've been an author for a full-time author for going on 8 years now. So I know what my writing style is. It's just the hard part for me was learning how to guide the AI to generate in my style. Am I still going to write most of my own prose because I'm controlling? Yes. But it makes me feel less stressed out if the prose I do generate is immediately in my style. So I use keywords and then I have a back and forth with Quick Chat asking it to generate a sample of genre fiction prose that this style prompt would generate. And then if there's something I don't like about it, I will either ask it how to guide it more in this direction, or I will take out a keyword and play with it.
All right, thanks.
Yes, sir. Hopefully that helps.
Well, I'm new
Um,
to this, so I'm learning as I go. I'm just now getting into it after NINC. So looking forward to discovering all of it. This is my first class to attend. Thanks, y'all.
did you get to meet the team out there?
Yeah, I sure did. It was a
Awesome.
good time. They were great people, and I was really impressed with what you guys are offering. I spoke with Michael quite a bit.
Gotcha. May I ask where you're from?
Houston.
I knew it. Knew I recognized the Texan.
I also knew it. I grew up in Houston.
But come on, we're getting overloaded with Texans here. Anyways, okay. So
Are
Stacey,
we?
yes.
Or are we perfectly loaded?
Well, I
There's
mean,
no
There's no
such thing.
such thing as overloaded with
oh, and
Texans.
Miss Lynn, I didn't know you could have warned me
Thank
Miss
you.
Lynn was here.
Thank you. We win.
I snuck in.
Um, I mean, Mr. Dean, I would definitely never argue with you speaking up in class. I do not mind that Texas accent at all. All right, Stacy had the idea for magical mishaps and genre. Remember, I said only make a couple of changes at a time if you're still trying to refine your prose. So this is step one. Since we added these little things, I added the whimsical and chaotic. I put that in the genre box. I'm going to run that stride again to see how it comes out, but then I'm going to go back to that other one to show you more of how to refine it. For testing purposes, I am going to go ahead and use the same model. So that's why step one is kind of finding the 2 or 3 models that you want to work with, and then you start working on tweaking your style box to see which model works best with you. All right, so his heart still fluttering. Why is his heart fluttering? His heart shouldn't be fluttering. I don't think I'm liking this one. There's parts of it I do actually like. A little more oomph to it or personality to it, but I think I like the other one better. What about y'all? I do like how it's going into what the sprite was doing a little bit more. Okay. There's your line, Stacy. All right, so actually I would kit bash these two together because there are parts of it that I do like. And kit bashing is just where we combine chapters. So I would actually copy both of these into Scrivener because inside Scrivener I can have a side-by-side screen. And I would just combine all the parts that I do like, get rid of everything I don't. And then I could actually take that and ask Quick Chat or Chat GPT, describe this writing style or describe the style of this writing, however you want to word it, and play around with those words. AI models do not recognize the term AI isms because they don't see them as that. I would think probably maybe in a year they would, as soon as enough people start saying, hey, this is an AI ism. But like avoid AI isms, I don't think that works too well. Somebody correct me if y'all have had a different experience. All right.
I actually asked the AI if it knew that, and it said no.
Yeah, I mean, remember, y'all, AI was trained on human written stuff, blogs, news articles, public domain books. So it's really a humanism. It learned it from us humans. All right, so how can you refine things even more? Let's say it's mostly there, right? I'm actually going to delete. I don't know, I did say I kind of liked it. Okay, I'm leaving it alone since we're already over. Okay, so let's say my style box is mostly there, but my prose is still just a little bit off, but I don't know what to do with it, right? I have no clue. I am going to, again, you can do this in quick chat because remember, quick chat sees your story, okay? And that's a huge benefit. Is there anybody that needs the documents that I shared? Just in case. And today we worked in the My Process and the Style and Character Voice documents. And they have the Chat GPT conversations in there. All right, so I am going to go into Chat GPT only because I like to be able to copy the conversation to y'all for reference so y'all can see all of the prompting. But again, you can do this in quick chat. I'm going to say describe this writing style. So I'm asking it to describe it first, and then I could actually compare that with my style box. Whimsical fantasy. Underdog. Why didn't I think of that? I like that too. Light and playful. So I'm actually kind of liking the wording it's using here. I would probably switch out, see what happens. Again, I'm not going to do this all since I know we're running over. We can if people want to stay for that. But I would actually switch out my style box and start incorporating some of the things it's saying. I would run that stride again and see, okay, did that improve it or did it make it worse? No change at all. And then make adjustments for there. So if it improved it, then I know, great, I want to keep this wording. If it made it worse, I know, no, I want to go back to the other one that was closer to what I wanted. You know what? So remember how I talked about those sentences in genre? This, I would tweak it just a little bit, but I would actually put something along these lines in the genre box. Okay, so now I'm at the part where I really want to dissect things and nail down what I like and don't like. So I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to tell it these are the lines of prose I like, and I'm just going to copy those out. And you can say, yes, I'm just copying phrases because that's the stuff that I like and I want to try to get specific with it. I do like this. Could be better, but good enough. And then I'm going to say, I could keep going through that whole thing if I want, but now I'm going to say, here are the lines of prose. Here's what I don't like. And again, I'm going to copy this chat to y'all so y'all can see all these prompts and everything. You do not need Chat GPT to read the conversation. Let's see how this works. Any questions? Bye, Jay. Hi, Miss Lynn. Quirky. See, I didn't even think of any of this. And sometimes it takes working with the AI to know, why didn't I think of that? Why'd everybody get so quiet?
As we're reading
Okay.
your screen.
Paranormal comedy. But I'd be worried about ghosts and all that coming too much.
What you could do instead of, because like Nicole just said, paranormal is definitely going to bring in some ghosts and things like that. And fantasy, we know, brings in its own pitfalls. What you could try is fantastical comedy.
Oh yeah, I like that. So yes, sir, Mr. Mitch. This is how I start narrowing down my style phrase. This is what I worked with to, get my dark mafia romance nailed down and everything. So I would just kind of do a back and forth process. I would take all of the wording that I like, drop it into Sudowrite's genre and style if I wanted to, whichever box I needed to change. I would run it again. Remember now, at this point, you're going to want to stay running that same stride and running the same model. Otherwise, you risk the model or the beats themselves and that wording of your beats being the calls for improved or worsened prose. So take what I like from chat, input that wording, run this again, and I would do the exact same thing. If it came out near enough perfect where I'm not worried about tweaking, great. But if there's still, okay, this is still not quite there, but it is better, I would repeat this whole process. Okay, here's the pros, here's what I liked, here's what I didn't like. Now, how can we refine this? Or how can we refine the style and genre suggestions to fit this? Does everybody understand what I'm doing here? Again, you could do this in quick chat. It's just a lot of back and forth. But I promise you, once you spend this time and get it nailed, it is beautiful. I think the ambassadors were fed up with me because I couldn't stop talking about how much I was in love with my prose now because I was getting almost 100% usable prose because I was loving it all. But it took a long time. I don't want to say a long time. It took a good few days of working back and forth to nail it down to get that much. So please don't give up. But you are definitely in a much better position with this featured styles stuff that you have now right here. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do the approachable and charming. Let's see what that one has. I'm going to say, I say lots of humor. And I'm going to actually reinforce it. What did you say? Fantastical comedy, Stacy?
Yes.
I'll put that up there. And I'm going to reinforce the comedy here again. That's probably going to make everybody be a bumbling student, but let's go ahead with it.
Just as a side note, witty also works well. But that's more of it implies more confidence than you may want for your characters in this one.
I do not have humor here. I need to do a humor one.
Humor is hard with AI.
Yes, definitely. Wanted to see if I had something here, but I'm not seeing anything. Okay. And there was
I've been
something.
told I'm hilarious. So, if you want some keywords, you just let me know.
I was going to do something after this, like I was going down a certain path here. I just don't remember what that path was, what my point of starting this was. So let's go with, we'll do that one again. And just so you know, I am not a fan of Opus. The one I'm generating with all this now, I don't care for it. Bye, Jude. To me, it does not listen. That's something I don't have in my style box right now. I normally have varied sentence structure and mixed cadence. I'll put that in the chat.
Don't forget realistic dialogue if you want it.
Mm-hmm. So that's something I like, but I find even with that, Opus does not like to listen and likes to get these long sentences. And I like what y'all saw earlier. I like those short, concise sentences. Oh, that's what I was going to talk about. All right, let's check this real quick and remind me, I was going to talk about the female POV. Okay. How many people are we still good? Okay. Heart, like this is the exact same line it has started in all of these, I believe.
Yeah, it's been some variation therein.
So this one's better. I like this better.
Could do start on action or start with dialogue.
Yeah, immediacy works great.
Immediacy, absolutely.
So I do like, I notice how the other times it put that wording in I didn't like, unable to contain his curiosity or something like that. He went, instead, it just did the simple wording that I prefer right here. So far it's, well, that one's sucky. All right. So last refinement, just so y'all can see what I'm going to do. And then I want to show y'all what I did for my dual POV, and we're going to wrap this up. So I would tell chat, here's the new version of prose. I actually don't mind that last sentence, but just for the purposes of this class, I'm going to tell it. Further narration in this version, but I like the dialogue better in the previous version. Give me a revised. So I'm just asking for a revised style now based on that. And I'm not going to go through the process of doing this one again. I think y'all get the picture. All right, so what did that? Give me a revised writing style. So it's actually rewriting it. So I would tell it, goodness. There we go. Much better. All right, here's that revised link because the old one won't copy the new stuff. All right, so again, back and forth like that. So dual POV, last thing. So this one is Ethan's, from Ethan's POV. And I do have this, it's not in this one. Let's not look at that one. Darn it. It might be in my other. All right. I'm not sure which one it is, and that's a triggering book, so I don't want to sit there and go through all of them. But what I did was I did ask ChatGPT. I gave it Ethan's POV, what I had nailed down finally for his style box and the genre. And I told it I'm writing a dark mafia romance story with dual POV. My female character, or no, here's my male character's style and how he will talk in this book. I want, trying to think of my wording. It was something along the lines of, I need help coming up with my female's POV style that will be unique from the males, but without jarring the reader. Because I mean, we don't want them to be like on different ends of the spectrum. At least I don't. That would jar me a little bit. I want to make it feel like I'm reading the same book, but I do want them to sound different whenever I'm doing their POV. And then I gave a brief description of my female character, her personality, things like that. And it gave me an output. I used that and I loved it. It worked beautifully. So that is something you can do for dual POV, is work with Quick Chat or ChatGPT and say, hey, here's one character's POV style. Give me something that will sound different for such and such character, but still won't jar the reader. And it completely understands that. All right. Well, thank y'all for staying over with me. Do we have any questions? I hope everything in chat got answered. Sorry, I had to close it out because it was in the way.
I was keeping an eye on it.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, since there's no questions, I can't stay around and chat. I know some people, won't mention any names, prefer to ask their questions off the recording. And we do like to just hang around and all that. So thank y'all again. And I'm going to stop the recording and stop the share. And Estlin, I will answer that question for you.